Well, it's my great pleasure to be here. I really deeply appreciate the chance to speak with all of you today. This is my first time participating in the Cyprus Forum. Again, I'm representing the U.S. Department of State. I am the Deputy Assistant Secretary that is responsible for looking at Southern Europe, including Cyprus, as well as the Caucasus. I really was impressed when I had a chance to look through the agenda and the full set of meetings and discussions that you'll be having there today. I really do wish I could have been there in person to participate, but I'm glad that at least I had this chance to speak virtually and to be a part of this discussion and with this group of people who, like me, care deeply about Cyprus and want to be part of its bright future. So I want to focus my remarks today particularly on the topics of transparency and the fight against corruption. I understand you've had really great discussions over the past days already, and you will tomorrow, on issues touching on this, all related to the broad theme of transparency in this Cyprus Forum. And I think this is really timely because I really believe that it's the fight for transparency that is at the heart of so many of our political and economic and diplomatic challenges today. I want to be clear. I want to be clear from the start that corruption is a problem that affects all countries, including my own. This is something that no one is immune to. We all must face it. It can have profound effects on the stability of countries and their ability to thrive. So to address this problem, the Biden administration launched the first ever U.S. strategy for countering corruption. This was in 2021, and President Biden at that time announced that corruption is a cancer within the body of societies. It's a disease that eats at public trust and the ability of governments to deliver for their citizens. Promoting transparency is therefore really key to shrinking the space in which corruption can thrive. And as the United States, we're doing this in many different channels, through our multilateral cooperation, say in the G7 and the G20 and elsewhere. But we're also prioritizing this in our bilateral relationships, including with the Republic of Cyprus, because we know that no one country can combat corruption alone. We want to work with as many countries as possible to take on this threat and to promote transparency in any way that we can. Much like so many global threats we face these days, whether it's the environment or whether it's terrorism, fighting trafficking, or you name your global issue, these are ones that we can only do in partnership with each other. No one country can solve these. And we're very pleased that we have an energetic partner in the Republic of Cyprus. I would add that transparency is fundamental to ensuring accountability for governments. Right? It's transparency that we're referring to when we speak of advancing and reinforcing the democratic governance and rule of law. Right? So this is not just something that nation states need to do with each other to fight transnational threats, but it's also fundamentally what governments owe to their own citizens. When we found to our cost that when our institutions lack transparency, for example, lack of free press or lack oversight of their own financial system, those are exactly the situations that benefit malign actors, and those actors that are bent on exploiting our institutions and our citizens. So this is why we are leveraging our alliances and our partnerships in innovative and mutually reinforcing ways, including with the Republic of Cyprus, across continents and across the full range of issues. But in addition to partnering with other countries, I want to stress that we're also partnering with other subnational level entities. And in particular, I'd like to recognize our allies, key allies in this struggle for greater transparency. And that's particularly the media, including, for example, the journalists and the press corps who are attending the Cyprus Forum today. Empowering independent and open media to provide accurate information and oversight furthers accountability and increases transparency and improves our ability to build peace and strengthen our institutions. A well-informed citizenry is one of the strongest tools that we can have against corruption. And by bringing cases of abuse of power to light The media can foster public support for transparency efforts, bring accountability, promote meaningful reforms, and help find resolution of conflicts. So that's why my government supports the work, for example, of the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project in Cyprus. It is important that these voices be protected from unjust libel suits or other actions intended to intimidate or silence them. We really believe that it's this kind of independent reporting that can make vital contributions to social development, to transparency, economic growth, and to peace building. So I'd like to take the chance to also commend the Republic of Cyprus's diligent efforts to uphold its commitments to both the EU and the UN with respect to sanctions against Russia. The proactive investigation of sanctions, evasion cases, and transparent, close coordination with like-minded partners has strengthened Cyprus's institutions and demonstrated the robustness and adaptability of the Cypriot economy. The Republic of Cyprus's performance in this regard is really a testament to the resilience and the innovative spirit of the Cypriot people and its economy, and we're really happy that we've had such a strong partnership in this area. We particularly applaud President Christopher's zero tolerance policy toward any Cypriot citizen or company that seeks to help evade international sanctions imposed on Russia. These actions underscore his administration's mission to further rebuilding Cyprus's reputation as a business and financial center. Now, as President Biden remarked in his speech in Warsaw last year, he said, we are in a battle between democracy and autocracy, between liberty and repression, between a rules-based order and one governed by brute force. And that's what makes these sanctions that I mentioned so important, not only because of transparency and because of the importance in preventing corruption and preventing malign actors from taking advantage of our financial system, but also because Russia's unprovoked war in Ukraine is a stark reminder of the downstream effects that corrupt institutions impose on their citizenry, and has made the need for transparency among friends more urgent than ever, to make sure that Russia cannot further exploit our financial system and circumvent sanctions. We think that Russia's clear institutional failures are a strong reminder of the corrosive nature of allowing corruption to go unchallenged. Now, Secretary Blinken delivered an important message earlier this month as well on this topic, underscoring the challenges that the United States and its allies and partners are all facing. We know that the influence of authoritarian powers, those regimes that seek to discredit or subvert the rights of their own citizens through opaque governance or disregard for the rule of law, is growing. Our ability to overcome this malign influence will only be possible, again, through our coalitions and partnerships. No one country can do it alone. Criminals, traffickers, sanctions evaders, even terrorists will deliberately seek to exploit opaque systems of government. None of us are immune from this reality. It really does take hard work to fight for transparency and good governance against corruption and those who would take advantage of our systems. So I really believe it's for this reason that the Republic of Cyprus has really decisively turned the corner and is on a clear upward trajectory in the fight against corruption. The Council of Europe's group of states against corruption made 16 specific recommendations to the Republic of Cyprus, and as I understand, 9 of those have been implemented satisfactorily already, 6 are partially implemented, and additional progress is being made every day. Our engagement and our support and close work with the Republic of Cyprus on these issues is constant and highly productive. To name a few, in the last 3 months alone, the Republic of Cyprus has hosted visits by the U.S. Department of Treasury's Deputy Assistant Secretary Anna Morris, our Department of State's Bureau of Economic Affairs Deputy Assistant Secretary Eric Woodhouse, the Department of State's Global Anti-Corruption Coordinator Richard Nephew as well. And of course, the State Department and Treasury here in Washington have recently hosted a delegation from the Associate of Cypriot Banks here in Washington as well. All of these have involved discussions about deepening and expanding our cooperation, training, our information exchange to make further inroads in tackling corruption, promoting transparency, particularly in business. This strong U.S.-Cypriot rapport has really undergirds our business dynamism and will promote better and more prosperous future for growth of our country. Now, in his speech this month, Secretary Blinken also said that our vision for the future is a world that is open, free, prosperous, and secure, which is a world where the global economy is defined by fair competition, openness, and transparency. I would say that transparency isn't an end unto itself, but rather it's a prerequisite for a fair economy and a prosperous future. Transparency is also a component in attracting high-quality investment, which makes the link between economic prosperity and transparency and the fight against corruption so close. Transparency is a component in attracting high-quality investment, deepening commercial and financial ties, and likewise plays a strong role in this kind of virtuous cycle of growing prosperity and preventing conflict. The growth in the U.S.-Cyprus trade and investment relationship is evidence of the progress that Cyprus has made and the benefits of those efforts. The U.S. government acknowledges the efforts the Republic of Cyprus has made, particularly in taking concrete steps, such as the creation of an independent anti-corruption authority and a sanctions implementation unit. These actions affirm the Republic of Cyprus's commitment toward stable and prosperous future for all Cypriots. These efforts are the foundation of Cyprus's robust economy today, and I believe will be in the future. So in closing, I would just like to refer to Secretary Blinken's comments at last year's Anti-Corruption Champion Award ceremony. He said, "We know that corruption makes even more difficult and exacerbates virtually every global challenge that we have to work on, from war and conflict to figuring out how to end pandemics and to disaster response. We also know and we see that in our efforts to strengthen democracy around the world, nothing is more corrosive and nothing does more to undermine citizens' trust in democracy than corruption. That's one of the reasons why corruption was one of the pillars of the Summit of Democracy that we had last year and will continue to be at the heart of all of our efforts going forward. For me, it's in this sense that I really hope that this conference and all the discussions you're having this week and we'll have tomorrow are part of this longer term, larger conversation. And it's how that we all together can promote transparency, fight corruption, strengthen our democratic institutions, and ensure a more prosperous future. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a real privilege to speak with you all today. I unfortunately won't have the opportunity today to take questions, and I apologize for that because I normally always really enjoy that and would love to hear from all of you. But I have enjoyed hearing the discussions that I was able to catch so far. And I would note that Ambassador Julie Fisher is also participating in the conference. I believe she'll be there tomorrow as well. And I'm sure she would be more than happy to follow up on any of the topics that I raised here today. So again, I would like to thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to the United States deepening cooperation with the Republic of Cyprus and look forward, I hope, to seeing some of you in Cyprus in the near future. So thank you again for the invitation and best regards.
Thank you so much, Mr. Huck.